But first, it's hard to replace the rose as the signature flower of the Valentine's Day season, so we're not even going to try. Instead, we'll just give a strong nudge toward an otherwise forgotten flower that florists are saying deserves a second look. Could you fall in love with the humble carnation? For a fresh centerpiece, even a beautiful bouquet, we are prepared to make the argument that its roughly frilly edges and softer color palette make it a worthy choice. Brynn Larson with Blooms & Company is known for her modern, at times even edgy design treatments, and even she is jumping on board with this Carnation craze. Although you gave it a cute little nickname, you called it
the flower swear word.
The flower swear word.
It kind of has been for a long time, but it's coming back, and it's kind of coming back big. And when I suggest it to brides, I see this like panic in their eyes until I show them how you can use it now. And they're like, wait, what? That's so pretty. So it really is making a comeback if you use it the right way.
Did you immediately jump on board, or did it take you a minute to evolve?
No, it took me a minute, because for a long time it was like, absolutely not. Like a lot of times when people call, they're like, no carnations.
That's the first thing they say.
That's the first thing they say. So I want to reintroduce it in a pretty way.
And you know what? You've done it. I mean, everyone who walks into the studio, showstopper centerpieces. Where do you want to start? Can we start over here?
We can start with this great big one.
This is amazing. It taps into the, you're going to show us some different colors, but this goes back to the traditional softer blush
Absolutely.
color.
This antique blush is so beautiful, and it's been so on trend. And I just love all flowers. Like if you don't want to spend $1 million on just an all flower centerpiece, Carnations is the way to go, because you don't have to add a ton of greenery to make it cost effective. It lasts forever. Carnations last for so long. That's why I wanted to show that you can string them if you're doing a backdrop or some kind of installation at a wedding.
They won't dry or wilt quickly?
They last a long time.
How long are we talking? What could you get out of this?
Without water, they can kind of go like a week. Like,
really?
They're insane.
Without looking pathetic and sad.
I've had them in flower walls for like a week, and they're okay without water.
So for sure, if you're doing a backdrop, like you mentioned, a flower wall, that would be something to reach for. They are so cost effective, but this goes to show a cheap flower, and I don't mean that in a rude way, can look very sophisticated.
You can totally do it if you do it the right way. I love the candlelight. Using a nice piece, like if you want to rent like a nice piece to put them in, that adds to. If you're using, you know, expensive here and then kind of a little less expensive.
Yeah, so the juxtaposition of this beautiful silver candlestick, candelabra.
Traditional.
Oh, it's gorgeous.
Yeah.
Now tell me about the ones that are just tinted on the edges.
So those are a bicolored carnation, and I kind of love those. Those used to be so like 1970s boutonniere to me, but they're coming back, and using them like with other ruffly flowers, it just gives a little depth, a little pop of color, and I'm totally falling in love with them.
You really only have about 6 of those two-tone, 6 or 7 kind of smattered.
Kind of a few mixed in there.
Around the monochromatic blush pink. I am just smitten with that whole design. I think it's beautiful. It leads us down here, and you say pairing carnations with green is a good way to go.
I love this. This is kind of fresh, clean. If you want a little bit more of a modern look, this is a great way to go.
Hold on, can carnations be modern?
They kind of can.
Yes?
Yes, they can, especially with like the clean lines. You know, and I love pairing it. This green trick, or green ball dianthus, is one of my favorite things.
Green trick, is that the nickname?
Green trick, yeah.
Cute.
It just kind of is like moss, but on a stem. So, you know, I love moss.
It looks like a Horton Hears a Who character.
Exactly.
Coming out of the bouquet.
So, and I think here too, pairing it with orchids are a little more expensive. So adding carnations can kind of bring the cost down for the overall bouquet.
And you can afford it because the carnation saved you dollars in the end.
I love too, a lot of times when I have them clustered together, people think it's a peony because of the ruffles.
Oh yeah.
So it tricks people too.
Trick of the eye.
They think it's
and those ruffles are so feminine, Valentine's Day pink. It just kind of is a natural transition.
Absolutely.
This is a little more, speaking of transition, a little more traditional.
This is, I see this all over my Instagram feed right now. A little more wild, adding kind of vintage roses, soft colors, and maybe some colors that are unexpected. You know, and there's a ranunculus right here that's kind of bicolor, that has the kind of tinted edges, and same with the carnation. So you can kind of use those different colors to bring it all together and add just a soft, romantic, kind of vintage piece,
Yeah,
which I love.
Speaking to those soft colors, you've got mauve in there, you've got peach, but I'm not looking at this and thinking hello 80s, I'm thinking hello beautiful.
Exactly.
And the greenery, you had some fun with the textures, it looks like, with the different greens you put in there.
Yeah, so there's Dusty Miller, which is kind of like lamb's ear. It's a soft, kind of velvety leaf.
Okay.
And then this acacia, this feather acacia, I love.
That's what
it's
caught my eye.
One of my favorites.
It has some movement to it. Listen, am I talking like a florist?
You are.
Are you so impressed?
You better come work for me.
This has some movement to it. Okay.
I just think it's really fun and romantic. I love vintage Valentine stuff, and this kind of speaks to that.
How would someone communicate this to you as a florist if they wanted this look?
I would say organic, kind of vintage and romantic is kind of a good way to go.
Organic, vintage, romantic.
Yes.
We're getting a little more bold, a little more modern with these next two designs.
Bringing in some more color.
This is just a show stealer in and of itself.
I love these. I love doing kind of an ombre effect with color. Really play with jewel tones. Carnations have beautiful jewel tones. Like this purple is one of my very favorite carnation colors.
Knock your socks off.
Yeah, and not a lot of flowers have that rich jewel tone to it that you can really get a pop of color.
Do carnations come in almost every color?
They do. There's a lot.
I mean, I would have never thought a fuchsia, a maroon, a deep plum. That's just gorgeous.
I love it.
Gorgeous.
And you know I don't love tons of color all the time.
Right.
But I dig these for sure.
I dig those as well. Okay, and finally, a bold, kind of bright idea?
Absolutely. If you're having a party, if you are, want it really bright and fun, carnations are a great way to go. I love the turquoise with these colors, and this acacia, this blooming acacia, is like one of my very favorites. It's only in season for a minute.
Okay.
So we had to use it today.
It's in season now?
It's like one of the only things that makes me really excited for Valentine's Day.
Is the bright yellow acacia?
Yes,
That's
I love
awesome.
it. It's
You're not a Valentine's Day girl?
It's a lot of work.
Okay, yeah. Hello.
Yeah.
Who am I talking to? It's like it's your Christmas.
Yeah,
basically.
it's wild. But I do love this acacia. It's just so fun and festive. Think Cinco de Mayo. Think fiesta. Think birthday party.
So
anytime,
fun.
or cheering someone up. If someone's having a bad day, this is a great way to go.
Just looking at that makes me happier. Brynn, thank you. Awesome applications for, as she called it, the swear word in the flower world, carnations. We are now all on board. I am at least loving it like you do. So thanks for the inspiration. And when do Valentine's orders need to be in? She's like,
you can start now. Yeah,
yesterday would be good, actually. Speaking of that stress level of florists everywhere.
Exactly. But we can start now. So nudge your husbands. Let them know.
Put in that call early. Where do we find you?
Blooms and Company.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Brynn.